Welcome to Wasatch Weekends for this Monday, October 2nd edition. I'm your host, Ben Roof. On today's show, we've got a financial planning expert stopping by to help us figure out why life insurance is an essential part of a complete financial plan. We've also got some health experts stopping by to help us navigate some of the difficulties around hepatitis C. And we've also got a best-selling author telling us all about her new book, The Scarlet Veil. But first, a quick local announcement. You can enjoy all of the fantastic restaurants and businesses around Old Town with free parking available at the China Bridge parking structure from October 1st through November 19th, with the exception of Halloween. There will still be paid parking on Main Street and surface lots for that period of time. But don't forget, the Park City Transit is free and there is abundant bike parking throughout Old Town, so make sure to take advantage of that as well. Now, let's take a quick look at today's weather.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back to the show. One of the more complicated aspects of navigating our financial lives is life insurance. It often seems like something that we're putting money towards that doesn't really benefit us all that much. But Kimberly Perot had the opportunity to talk to an expert in the world of life insurance to explain what benefits life insurance can provide to us and our benefactors in the event that we actually need it. Let's take a look.
I am so excited about this next section and conversation that I have because I've got financial expert Shirley Ann Robertson here to talk about how life insurance can be part of a comprehensive financial plan and really build generational wealth. Shirley Ann, how are you this morning?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me.
So, how important is life insurance for a comprehensive financial plan?
It's very important, so let me level set here. I am some 30 years in the financial services industry, and the number one question I ask is, if you were to die today, would anyone be impacted financially due to your death? So if your answer to that question is yes, then absolutely you need life insurance. So are you in a scenario where you are the single parent, or you're financially caring for aging parents, or you are the person making more income than your partner? Those are just a myriad of reasons why you need life insurance, yet some 41% of individuals either have no insurance or don't have enough. Yet we spend more time insuring our cars, our homes, or cell phones than we do insuring ourselves.
It's absolutely true. I think people have pet insurance too, and we don't even think about the other things. So at what age should people consider purchasing life insurance? And can you be too old or too young if you do choose to do that?
You're never too young, you're never too old, but let's be realistic. When you're younger, you're invincible. You don't need life insurance, but that's when I want you to get it. So I'm okay if you get your employer plan and make sure you enjoy all your employer benefits. Now, as we get into more seasoned ages like myself, I still want you to make sure you get your employer benefits. But then now let's go into a deeper dive and look at, where are we with debt? Is there a mortgage we need to protect? Is there college educations that we want to protect? Credit card. So then we look at your budget and we find the dollars to buy that life insurance. So yes, you have insurance through your employer, but also life insurance through a company directly. So there's reasons why you need life insurance, whether you're young or you're old.
I love that. Now, in regard to life insurance, people are usually thinking about it as final expenses, which, as sad and as morbid as that sounds, it's a realistic thing to think about. Now, how can policyholders benefit if they choose to buy a life insurance policy now while they're still living?
So you're spot on when you said that yes, life insurance is when you pass away, but life insurance has evolved. It definitely is now a scenario where there's living benefits that you can use while you are living. So I'll use myself as that example. So I have a layering effect with my life insurance policies where the first layer of protection I have says if I were terminally ill, if I were confined to a nursing home, or if I were critically ill, the death benefit is paid to me while I'm alive. My next layer of protection says that I'm the key person for my company. So here's life insurance that's going to be paid to my partner to keep my company going. The third layer of protection that I have is paid to my trust. And my trust is going to follow my instructions specifically from the grave. So here's my trustee doing exactly what I want to have happen. From the grave, things are controlled. And then the fourth part of my overall protection is the cash value. And that's money I can access today, tax-free dollars, or I can wait till my retirement. So yes, life insurance has evolved, and the living benefits make life insurance far more appealing today than just waiting for when you die, your family gets the money.
Now, I love the idea of living benefits, and I think what is very interesting about life insurance is building wealth. So when you are considering building wealth or a life insurance policy, what kinds of policies and benefits should you consider as you are thinking about building wealth for future generations and for your family?
So there are so many different types of life insurance: term insurance, whole life insurance, variable policies, index policies, but that's where I find consumers get overwhelmed. So this is now the time that you and I need to connect, to have that one-on-one personalized conversation that speaks to your unique situation. So I'll look through your overall scenario, I'll look at your budget, I'll see your financial needs, and then I'll make that recommendation. So it's not one size fits all, it's unique to your unique situations.
I love that life insurance can be used as a way to really help bridge the gap in wealth here in the U.S. So, Shirley Ann, where can we go for more information to really educate and consider buying a life insurance plan outside of our employer?
So I want you to go to www.prudential.com, where you'll find me as well as my other colleagues and associates. And you'll also see a few financial calculators that allow you to start plugging in your numbers now so that when we do have that one-on-one conversation, you kind of realize that you do need to have the assistance of a financial advisor like myself. And you also realize that life insurance is not intended to be as daunting as it can be.
I think it's a very important topic to approach as you are planning your family and planning your future as well. So, Shirley Ann, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your information, ways that we can build wealth and plan for the future. We really appreciate all that you are doing and helping people in the community.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, stay tuned. We will be right back.
Welcome back to the show. As the opioid crisis hits all of our communities, especially the ski towns, as people recover from bad skiing injuries, hepatitis C can be one of the more silent issues associated with the opioid epidemic. And Kimberly Perot had the opportunity to talk to a couple of experts about opioids and hepatitis. Let's take a look.
September is known as Recovery Month, and that's typically from mental and substance abuse, but it is also the rise of hepatitis C and the opioid epidemic. Very, very important information. Hepatitis C is known as the silent disease. That means 4 of 10 adults that are living with it don't know that they have it until it is almost too late, whether it shows itself in cancer or liver failure. So joining us today to talk all about that is Dr. Ada Stewart, family physician, and then Devin Lyle, the founding executive director of the Wilkes Recovery Revolution. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
So, Devin, you are founding executive director of the Wilkes Recovery Revolution. Tell us your story and, the work that you do in the community.
Yes, so my name is Devin Lyle. I am an individual that has my own journey from addiction into recovery and was diagnosed while in treatment of hepatitis C and have since been cured. So that's really the passion behind what brings me to the table to have these conversations, so that people in the same situation can know what their resources are and where to get that hope. I became addicted to opioids after a ski accident where there was surgery involved and long-term prescribed opioid medications. And eventually that led me to active use where I became an IV drug user, which then led to my hepatitis C. So through my journey, I founded Wilkes Recovery Revolution here in Wilkes County, North Carolina. And what we do is create this recovery ecosystem where individuals like myself can share their lived experience to connect people to resources within their community, such as peer support specialists, harm reduction services, and really just meeting them where they're at to make sure they have what they need.
Devin, your story is absolutely incredible. I think people don't realize how addictive things can happen from surgery. So I love that you were able to share that and really have such an incredible outreach in your community. Now, Dr. Stewart, tell us about hepatitis C. What is it? What are the symptoms? I know that it's a silent disease, so you often don't catch it until it's too late. Tell us about it.
Yes, thank you so much for having us today. So it's really important to recognize that hepatitis C is a silent disease. There's usually no signs or symptoms until complications arise, and that's many, many years after one has been impacted by hepatitis C. Those complications include liver disease, liver failure, cirrhosis of the liver, and even death. Hepatitis C is a virus that is spread via blood. And so that's why it's important to raise awareness at this time about IV drug use and how this has been, the number one driver for the increase in hepatitis C that we are seeing right now in our country. It's also important to recognize that there are available treatments out there that, hepatitis C can be cured, and that there is a 95% cure rate for the available treatments that we have for hepatitis C. So, number one is we really have to get individuals screened, get them tested, and get them to the available options for them. And that is through linkage to care to their primary care provider or wherever they go for their health care.
So,
and I want to echo what Dr. Stewart said about everyone that comes through the doors at our center is encouraged to get testing regardless of where they're at in their recovery process. And so we integrated testing into our services. So I would just encourage people to first off get tested and start having these conversations. If you're an individual who's in active use, talk to someone about hepatitis C. If you have a loved one or a friend or family member, have this conversation with them and help us spread this message of awareness and that there are resources. There is free testing and there is treatment options like Dr. Stewart shared.
Absolutely. And speaking of those treatment options, what are the challenges of treatment for the hepatitis C if you do realize that you have it?
Yes, so there are many challenges, and I'll let Devin piggyback on my comments. But, number one is getting individuals screened. That is the first thing. You can't you can't avail yourself of the treatment unless you know whether you have hepatitis C or not. And so raising awareness that individuals need to get screened, they need to find out whether they have hepatitis C or not, and then get linked into care to find out what the available options are. So we have so many barriers that are out there. The CDC does recommend that every adult has at least one lifetime test for hepatitis C. But those individuals who are impacted by IV drug use, those tests need to be more frequent, to screen those individuals more often. And I would love for Devin to really piggyback on some of these barriers because she experienced those herself.
Yes, Dr. Stewart, thank you. And so I wasn't aware of hepatitis C during my drug use. That was not a conversation that was widely had. And so I think that's why it's so important that we share about this today, because I would be interested to know if I had had access to a recovery community organization, if I'd had access to harm reduction services and safer use supplies, how would my story have been different and how would my health have been improved, right?
Yeah, it's very, very important. And I love, Dr. Stewart, that you said the CDC recommends everybody gets screened at least once. So it does not matter what you do, what your recreational activities are, and how your health is impacted. I love that information. So Devin, tell us where to go for more information so that people can start to create awareness and understanding of hepatitis C. Wonderful. Now, we really appreciate all of the information that Dr. Ada Stewart and Devin shared with us about hepatitis C at the end of September, which is Recovery Month. It is very important to make sure that you are maintaining your health, that if you know somebody who's struggling with addiction or substance abuse and needs some help, make them aware of all of the health implications and help them find the right resources to support them.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back. Moving on from a little bit more of the darker realities of life to a little bit of a twist on that, taking a look at a novel about vampires in young adults. Kimberly Perot had the opportunity to talk to the fantastic author of the new book, Scarlet Veil. Let's take a look.
I am so excited about our next guest. Joining us today is New York Times best-selling author Shelby Mahurin to talk about her brand new book, The Scarlet Veil. I've got it here in studio. I'm so excited. I've been flipping through the books and the pages, and it was released today, exactly. So very exciting. Shelby, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am doing great. So I was looking at this book, and I know that it says it's Harper Teen is who's published it, but this is something that I would love to read. So tell me a bit about The Scarlet Veil and your inspiration behind it.
Right, of course. So The Scarlet Veil is the first in a new spin-off duology set in the same universe as Serpent and Dove, which is my original trilogy, Serpent and Dove, Blood and Honey, and Gods and Monsters. It follows Célie Tremblay, who was a side character in Serpent and Dove, as the first female huntsman in the world. She is investigating a string of magical murders in Cesarine, all of the victims' bodies drained of blood. So she is just desperate to prove herself as the first in her class. And because of this, she follows the investigation straight into the heart of a vampire lair, where she attracts the attention of its cruel yet beautiful king, who has plans of his own for Célie.
I love that. It's a definitely, I love the tagline, love never dies in this book. Now, the Serpent and Dove trilogy, it was a TikTok sensation. So what inspired you to create this spin-off and to really feature this new character?
So the inspiration behind The Scarlet Veil is pretty vague. I have always loved vampires ever since I was little. I grew up on Twilight. I love the Vampire Diaries, True Blood, Dracula. They were all sort of foundational for my personality. But specifically, the decision to write this book came after Gods and Monsters published. I did not want to leave the world. I remember driving home from my local independent bookstore, crying. I started crying because I was like, it's over. I can't believe it's over. And my critique partner, she said, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be. Have you ever thought about Saley with vampires? She knew that I'd always wanted to write a vampire novel. And I was like, light bulb. Oh my God, vampires completely make sense in this world because the world already has witches and werewolves and mermaids and all sorts of paranormal creatures and shenanigans. So it really fell into place. It really felt right. And luckily my publisher thought so too.
I love that. Now, you mentioned all of the shows that I watched as well. So well, who is your target audience specifically for this book, and what do you hope they get out of reading it?
So the book is, it's targeted towards young adult readers. It's shelved in the YA section, but it does, like my other books too, have crossover potential. So people like you and me can read it and enjoy it. You know, I'm 31, I'm not a young adult anymore. So the crossover potential is definitely there. In terms of who I hope finds the book, Saley is a very soft main character. She's very traditionally feminine, and it calls into question of like what strength it means, and whether someone who is soft can be strong. And she discovers, as all of my readers will discover too, that yes, you can be soft and strong at the same time. So I hope that reader finds the book specifically. Otherwise, I hope that anybody who's looking for like an escape. It's very much escapist fantasy. I mean, it's vampires, right? It's a vampire love story. Who doesn't want to escape into one of those?
That's absolutely the truth. I love a good love story. Now, do you find yourself as an author like relating to Saley at all, or is this more of a brand new character? You know, well, besides the fact that she was in the previous trilogy, but do you feel like you've related to her as you've developed her story and her journey?
Absolutely. I often say that the main character in my first book, her name is Louise. She is who we all kind of want to be, whereas Saley is who we all are. She's very soft, like I said. She's emotional. She's sensitive. She can't wield a sword, you know, like she can't like charge into battle and vanquish her enemies in that way. So it was a lot of fun. It was almost cathartic to write a heroine like Saley, who can't do those things and still has to figure it out. And she does figure it out. And like I said, she discovers that she is the main character, not just the side character.
I love that. Now, it released today. Where can we go to purchase it? Where is it available?
It's available everywhere, anywhere books are sold. So you can buy it at Barnes & Noble. There's an exclusive edition at Barnes & Noble with a fun cover and exclusive content. You can get it on Amazon, Target, your local independent bookstores. It's always great to support those. Anywhere books are sold.
Awesome. Well, The Scarlet Veil, it looks like it's just such an exciting and fun journey. Now, where can we go to keep up with you and your journey as you embark on this new duology?
Right. I am pretty much exclusively on Instagram. And my handle is @ShelbyMahurin, which it's spelled just like it is on the book.
Awesome. Well, Shelby, beautiful artwork on the book cover. I'm so excited for you. Congratulations on this new release. I'm sure you've put a lot of time and blood, no pun intended, sweat and tears into this novel. So we appreciate you coming on.
Well, that's all the time we have for this Monday's edition of Wasatch Weekends. If you've missed any of our episodes, you can always catch us at parkcity.tv. And of course, you can catch us again next Friday. Until then, I'm your host, Ben Roof, and this is Wasatch Weekends.